I've worked in broadcasting for many years, working mainly on news and current affairs and documentary films. One of the most interesting things is a film is commissioned, research is done, you edit and it's broadcast, and that's the end of it. The following day, you might get interesting letters from members of the public who have comments to make, but there's never an update. But YouTube is different. A few days ago, I posted a film about the sinking of L129 and its recovery by the Howard Hughes Corporation CIA-funded ship Glomar Explorer. I did research, I checked my facts, I watched other people's movies, and mainly the film was about the CIA cover-up. And the sinking was interesting, and did they recover secrets? Who knows? And that was the drift of my film. What's really interesting is what happened last night. I got an email from a guy who knows what happened. I can't reveal his name. I assume he is an intelligence or Navy or submarine person who knows the story very well. It's interesting when you're doing a film because it's like a jigsaw. You have this piece and this piece, and you kind of don't really know how they fit together, and you write some commentary, and you've got a great picture here and a great picture here, and you kind of link the two. And it doesn't quite fit together, but the big picture is great. But what he has given me is this. So I've got a jigsaw piece that's like this, and a jigsaw piece that's like this, and they do not quite fit together. There's a missing bit. Well, what he's revealed is that the first piece I got wrong. It's actually like this. And when you look at it again, click. Haha! They fit together. So here's what he told me. First of all, you've probably seen the film or know the story of the sinking of L129 and Glomar Explorer's failed attempt at raising her and limited nuclear secrets and millions of dollars spent. If you haven't watched it, look at the channel, go back and watch the film. If you have watched it, what I'm about to tell you pretty well changes the whole story. So L129 is a Soviet ballistic submarine, 1960s. It was on patrol in the Pacific. It probably did pretty well the same patrol every time it came out of the eastern seaboard of the USSR and went back. The idea of nuclear missile submarines is that they need to be in range of the landmass that their missiles can hit. So when they were first made, the submarines needed to get maybe 900 miles away from the US. As they improved, they could get 1,000 miles, 1,200, 15, and today maybe 3,000 miles away. So L129 did this long but distant loop from the US and returned to the Soviet Union. But very interestingly, the Chinese also had nuclear missile submarines, but their missiles had a lower range. That's very important. So Chinese submarines had to get closer to the coast of the US. L129 Soviet ballistic submarine has a crew of between 80 and 85 people. This mission, it had a crew complement of 92. All right, who are the extra people? Well, according to this anonymous source, the extra people on board were a KGB Maverick team who hijacks the submarine. Ha! Okay, so the submarine has been hijacked by 10 armed, trained KGB thugs. Their aim is to start World War III by firing one of their nuclear missiles at Hawaii. At the time, the Soviets and the US were pretty stable, MAD, mutual assured destruction. But the relationship between the Soviet Union and China was pretty tense, and the relationship between China and the US was tense. You know, it was during the Vietnam War, China was backing Vietnam, and there was, tension there. So this inside person, who will remain anonymous, told me this. They know that Chinese submarines would be much closer to the island of Hawaii, and they want to pretend a missile that they're going to launch is from a Chinese submarine. So they take up a course about 600-700 miles northwest of Hawaii, way off the normal L129's route, because it's been hijacked. They are going to fire a nuclear missile at Pearl Harbor, Honolulu, on the island of Oahu. It would have been devastating. Lots of people would have died, and possibly it would have started World War III, and it would have been assumed that it was the Chinese. But we have one person to thank that this didn't happen. L129 gets into the position of the Chinese submarines, arms the missile with the launch codes to fire and hit Honolulu, Pearl Harbor. The captain, who isn't part of the KGB team, has the final code to launch the missile. He knows something very, very secret. And I learned this last night for the first time, and now you're going to know it. Russian submarine captains, if they entered the wrong launch code, would make their nuclear missiles blow up inside their own submarine. It was a kind of fail-safe to stop this kind of maverick operation happening. Bravely and saving the planet, the captain of the submarine, who was an admiral, probably under great duress, gives the KGB team the wrong code. They're 600 miles off Hawaii. They enter all the launch codes. They press fire, and L129 blows up. Completely different story to what the Pentagon and the CIA have released about what actually happened. So World War III nearly started by a Russian submarine pretending to be a Chinese submarine and launching a nuclear missile at Hawaii. Slightly ironic, with North Korea threatening Hawaii recently. The second piece of information that this anonymous source told me was how L129 was found. Sure, SOSUS, the underwater sonar, picked up an explosion. Now we know a large explosion as the nuclear missile exploded. But it wasn't a University of Hawaii research vessel who found a slick on the surface of the sea. No, it was much better. Based in Pearl Harbor was a very secret submarine converted for one purpose, and that was to look at the bottom of the seabed. It had underwater drones on wires, and by using magnetic resonance, it could find metal objects in the seabed. It found the submarine. It was a very dark secret program. And this anonymous source has filled in one more tiny but very significant piece of the jigsaw of the story of L129. Remember, William Colby, the dead retired CIA director at the time, praised the mission for being a great success for America. Well, as far as we know, the submarine on lifting broke in two. Most of it dropped to the seabed. They possibly got a section of the torpedo room, and sadly some dead Soviet sailors were recovered and returned to the bottom of the sea. But according to this guy, there was an inquiry in Congress about great waste of money for not much success in this mission. And Colby presented to the US government L129's ship's bell. Seems kind of insignificant, but you know, it was a good prize. Hang on. The ship's bell wasn't in the torpedo room. It wasn't in the bit that we think was the only part they recovered. The ship's bell was in the main control room. Ha! The main control room is right next door to the Soviet nuclear missiles. They can't have got the bell unless they raised the entire submarine. As I say, the truth is out there. Thank you, viewers. Please keep updating your fantastic information which you have and is out there. This is way better than broadcast TV. Like, subscribe, and keep watching. Thank you.